Well, it seems wherever President Biden goes, three little words seem to follow him. Here's what he heard when he got to Kentucky to survey the devastating tornado damage. Listen.
Go, Brandon! Go, Brandon!
That is not a sentence of endearment for him. And not good news from a new CNN poll either. It shows 66% of all voters said President Biden was not a leader they could trust. But look at the party breakdown. No surprise that a vast majority of Republicans don't see President Biden as trustworthy and a leader. But a whopping 75% of independent voters agree with that. And 1/3, a little bit more than a third, of Democrats say they believe the same thing. Ari Fleischer, Fox News contributor, former White House press secretary. Ari, tell me this. When do the polls start to matter to a White House?
The day after the midterm election. That's when the poll is really
Okay.
going to start to take a bite on Joe Biden. That's when everybody, the day after 2022, which by all measures is going to be a big win for Republicans, are going to start to say, what's Joe Biden going to do? Is he going to run, yes or no? And at that point, the pressure just starts to mount, and with every day it mounts more.
So why say he's going to run now in 2024? What does that get them? And you know, he's late 70s now. You pointed out in the clip that we showed the audience just moments ago, he'll be 82 at the time if he were to take the White House again. So why get that out there now, especially with his popularity so low in the polls?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question, Harris. And if you're Joe Biden, you have to pretend. You cannot turn yourself into a lame duck. But the rest of us don't have to pretend. There is no chance he's running for re-election. It's just not going to happen. Coming off the 2022 election, unless there's something that really changes and the Democrats have a big win and people start to think Biden's the reason we had a big win, we need to keep old man Joe Biden in office, he's kind of like the nation's grandfather, everybody loves him. Unless things shift to that point of view, he's going to be an unpopular president. He's going to be 80 after the November election next year. And the American people are just not going to go, and the Democrat Party aren't going to go for an 82-year-old candidate. So it's a myth. It's what you have to do to be a politician, but the rest of us know the game is up. Joe Biden was elected to be a transitional figure for the Democrats. He was elected because he wasn't Donald Trump, because he doesn't tweet. And that's about the only two things the Democrats have got out of him. He's failed on everything else.
Well, that's interesting, because from that perspective, you would say that he was at least successful on the initial goal. I wonder if that was ever going to be enough, though, for a man who was vice president for 8 years. I would have to imagine he had his own goals. Fox News contributor Joe Concha out there with a new op-ed laying out the case for a Hillary Clinton-Donald Trump rematch in 2024. You know she's salivating at that thought, arguing that given the Democrats' options right now, she may be the Dems' best hope. Quote, the Democratic bench is about as deep as the New York Jets these days. Oh, I don't know. Quarterback Wilson's not so bad. I don't know. I'm a Chiefs fan. Adding that one more possible sign that Hillary Clinton is dipping her toe in the 2024 pool comes in the form of her bizarre decision to read her 2016 would-have-been victory speech. And this felt more like a trial balloon as an effort to see if there is still an appetite for her brand. Ari.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Dolphins fan, and we'll beat the Jets this Sunday. So that comes first. But beyond that, look, I think that's just having fun with Hillary. I'd be shocked if she decides to get in. You know, I think we're just going to have a mess, frankly, in both parties. It's going to be a fascinating year. It's going to be like 1968. That is the last time you had a one-term incumbent president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, even though he succeeded JFK in 63. He ran one in 64 and chose not to run in 68. So it was a wide-open pandemonium inside the Democratic Party. Something similar is going to happen this time. For President Trump, he's going to be 78. So don't forget that. And I think it's valid to ask, how's his health going to be? Now, he is certainly energetic and is the anti-Biden.
Yes,
but it's a
he
legitimate question. And I think it does create an opening for younger candidates to emerge on the Democratic side. I think Buttigieg still starts out as the favorite, especially over Harris. But it's wide open as soon as Biden announces the inevitable.
It's so interesting for us to talk about this, and you only mentioned Kamala Harris once as somebody who should be, like, put aside for somebody maybe like a Pete Buttigieg. I mean, honestly, that is astonishing. She's still in office. Okay, the New York Post highlighting the latest in a disturbing string of attacks on the New York City subway. So we know that the crime is just blown out of control here. And now the subway, an enclosed environment where it's hard to run if somebody's after you. We want to warn you that the next video you may find disturbing. A young Thai model who just moved to the city says she was attacked and robbed while waiting for a train at 4 a.m. Police have released photographs of the suspect, but so far have made no arrests. In Chicago, America's murder capital of the world right now, a 17-year-old who pleaded guilty to the stabbing death of this 15-year-old boy was given probation and community service. Republicans are poised to make crime a top issue for the 2022 midterms. And Speaker Nancy Pelosi, though, jumped onto the bandwagon, condemning violence yesterday. But apparently she can't figure out what's causing it.
It's absolutely outrageous. Obviously, it cannot continue. But the fact is that there is an attitude of lawlessness in our country that springs from I don't know where. Maybe you do. And we cannot have that lawlessness become the norm. This isn't like somebody stealing something to go home because they don't have the money to buy. This is about stealing for profit.
All right. She looked to the media and said, maybe we do. Well, of course we do, because we cover it every day. We're not in denial like the White House seems to be. She might want to check out her own backyard, Democrat policies in those cities. Critics say leaders like San Francisco's far-left district attorney are squarely to blame. Los Angeles PD Detective Jamie McBride on Focus yesterday.
Crime is crazy. Now they're scrambling. And the thing about politicians is they don't want to admit when their policies are failures. Just like the mayors up there, the city council members, and also our George Gascon and the district attorney in San Francisco. They don't want to admit they failed.
Does this go far enough when you consider Congresswoman AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, and others in the Democratic Party who don't acknowledge crime happening the way that it is? Does it go far enough to have the Speaker say, oh, my goodness, it's really bad, but how did we get here?
Well, how we got here is obvious. The Democrats and many people beat up the police. There was such a backlash against the police after the murder of George Floyd, and obviously the murder of George Floyd was unforgivable, and Derek Chauvin gets everything he deserves. But then the backlash went so far with all the rioting and the looting and the blaming things on the police. And I believe you can have two things at one time. A humanitarian policy that recognizes if you can help, you should help, and not everybody deserves to be thrown in prison. But you've got to back the police. You cannot intimidate them and make them back off of doing their job. There are criminals out there who make a living by being criminals. And if we tell the police, back off, don't go after them, don't be tough, don't be aggressive, the criminals have free reign. And that's exactly what's happened in the nation's city. We've got to back the police.
Yeah, and it's rampant all over the place, not just the edges of the country, but in the center of the country as well. I look at it this way, just to further what you just said, Ari. If the military is on the front lines, can you imagine second-guessing them at every turn? And the advantage that would give our enemy. Well, the criminals are the enemy in this scenario.
That's right. That's right.
Ari Fleischer.
That's right. And you know,
go ahead.
Well, I try to be fair-minded about these things, Harris, too. I believe deeply in innocent until proven guilty. But if you commit a crime while you're out on bail, you should be a double or triple sentenced for the next crime that you commit. It's that simple. Innocent until proven guilty, but you can't have this revolving door where you get caught and you're put back out on the street again and again.
Yeah. Good to see you, Ari. Thank you very much.